Welcome. Today we're exploring the stark divide between Texas and California, two states that embody opposing visions for America's future. Their policies on issues like transgender rights, border security, and student privacy create a patchwork of laws that can feel like living in two separate countries. This isn't just politics, it's about the core values shaping American life. To help us understand, we have Dr. Elena Ramirez from UCLA and Mr. David Chen from a Texas think tank. They'll debate how recent federal decisions and state actions are impacting real families and communities. Our goal isn't to pick a winner, but to reveal the principles driving each side. We'll see how Texas emphasizes state sovereignty and security, while California champions individual rights and federal cooperation. These states are laboratories for America's future, each charting a distinct path. The Supreme Court recently upheld a Tennessee law banning gender-affirming care for minors. This decision has effectively put a hold on lower court rulings that challenged the law, allowing the ban to remain in effect while legal battles continue. This ruling has ignited fierce debate nationwide, sparking protests and drawing sharp criticism from LGBTQ+ advocates and civil rights groups. The implications of this decision are far-reaching, potentially influencing similar legislation in other states. Texas views the ban as necessary to protect children from irreversible decisions, arguing that these medical interventions can have long-term consequences that minors may not fully understand. The state believes minors lack the maturity for such complex and life-altering choices, emphasizing the need for caution and parental guidance in these sensitive matters. They argue that it's prudent to wait until adulthood, when individuals are better equipped to make informed decisions about their healthcare and personal identity. The Supreme Court's decision affirms a state's right to legislate for its citizens' safety and well-being, reinforcing the principle of federalism and the autonomy of individual states to govern on certain issues. California and Texas now stand on opposite sides, two states with vastly different approaches to gender-affirming care and LGBTQ+ rights. One defending individual autonomy and the right of individuals to make their own healthcare decisions, free from government interference. The other, prioritizing caution, parental rights, and state authority in matters concerning the health and well-being of minors. California vows to keep access open, ensuring that transgender youth and their families can continue to receive the care they need within the state, while Texas supports restrictions aiming to prevent what they see as potentially harmful medical interventions for young people, each reflecting their core values and deeply held beliefs about the role of government, individual rights, and the protection of children. The divide is clear, a stark contrast in ideologies and approaches to healthcare policy, sanctuary versus restriction, creating a patchwork of laws and policies across the country, autonomy versus protection, forcing families to navigate complex legal and medical landscapes. These choices are shaping the lives of families across the nation, impacting their access to healthcare, their sense of safety, and their ability to live authentically. The debate is far from over, with legal challenges and legislative battles continuing to unfold in states across the country.
Mr. Chen, what's the Texas perspective on this recent Supreme Court decision and the ongoing debate surrounding gender-affirming care for minors?
California sees this as a setback for transgender youth, undermining their rights and access to essential healthcare services, believing healthcare decisions belong to families and doctors, not politicians, and that these decisions should be based on medical expertise and individual needs. The state is committed to protecting access to gender-affirming care, ensuring that transgender youth can receive the support and treatment they need to thrive, positioning itself as a sanctuary for those seeking treatment, offering a safe and welcoming environment for transgender individuals and their families.
Dr. Ramirez, how does California respond to the concerns raised by other states regarding the potential risks of gender-affirming care for minors?
The Biden administration has recently implemented a new policy that now requires international students applying for visas to share their social media accounts as part of the application process. This includes access to various platforms and a comprehensive overview of their online presence. This requirement is now mandatory for visa approval, sparking considerable controversy and debate across the nation. California, among others, strongly argues that it's an unacceptable invasion of privacy, infringing upon personal freedoms. They contend that this policy chills free expression, potentially discouraging open dialogue, and creates risks of discrimination based on online activity. Students may fear sharing their opinions online, knowing their posts could be scrutinized and potentially misinterpreted by authorities. They are worried about misinterpretation of their words or actions, leading to visa denials or complications. The policy could inadvertently deter talented students from choosing American universities, potentially pushing them to pursue educational opportunities in other countries with less stringent requirements. This could ultimately harm America's reputation as a global education leader, diminishing its appeal to international scholars. Texas, on the other hand, prioritizes security above all else, believing that the potential risk justifies the intrusion into personal privacy, especially in the current global climate. California champions openness, academic freedom, and civil liberties, warning of the potential for lost talent and reduced diversity on college campuses if the policy remains in place. The same federal rule is seen as a necessary measure of protection in Texas, ensuring the safety and security of its residents. Conversely, it's viewed as an unacceptable government overreach in California, infringing upon fundamental rights. This clash highlights the state's fundamentally differing priorities, the ongoing tension between ensuring public safety versus protecting individual liberty. The impact is real and far-reaching, affecting students, universities, and ultimately, America's global standing in education and research. The debate over the balance between privacy and security continues to shape the nation's future, with significant implications for international relations. The stakes are incredibly high for both sides of this contentious issue, with potentially lasting consequences. The outcome of this debate will significantly influence who chooses to call America home and contribute to its vibrant society.
Dr. Ramirez, can you elaborate on why California so strongly opposes this new policy?
Texas views it as a necessary security measure in an increasingly complex world. Essentially, a digital background check designed to identify potential risks, to prevent potential threats, and ensure the safety and well-being of students and faculty on campuses.
Mr. Chen, could you explain why Texas is such a strong supporter of this policy?
California maintains a firm position. Border security is fundamentally a federal responsibility. The state argues that a unified national approach is essential for effective and humane immigration management. Unilateral state action, particularly when it diverges from established federal protocols, creates confusion and chaos on the ground. Such actions undermine any cohesive national strategy, potentially exacerbating humanitarian concerns and creating inconsistent enforcement patterns. The Constitution clearly delineates the President's authority over the National Guard when it is federalized, placing command firmly within the executive branch. However, states retain control of the National Guard in a non-federalized capacity. Texas is currently operating within this gray area, leveraging its state authority over the Guard. Legal battles are rapidly mounting, challenging the boundaries of state and federal power. According to previous Biden administration, Texas is unlawfully interfering with federal immigration enforcement efforts, disrupting established procedures, and creating legal precedents with potentially far-reaching consequences. Republican-led states are vocally backing Texas, framing the issue as a defense of state sovereignty. Conversely, Democratic states, including California, condemn these actions as dangerous overreach, potentially undermining the rule of law and established federal authority. This escalating conflict isn't merely about tactical disagreements or policy preferences. It represents a fundamental clash over the very principles of federalism and the division of powers. The central question remains, where does the legitimate scope of federal authority end, and where does the rightful exercise of state power begin? The ultimate answer to this question has the potential to fundamentally reshape America's balance of power, impacting governance and policy across the nation. The stakes in this standoff are undeniably national, transcending purely local concerns and impacting the entire country.
Dr. Ramirez, could you elaborate on California's specific stance regarding the situation at the border?
Texas asserts that it has a fundamental obligation to protect its citizens and safeguard its borders. This assertion is rooted in the belief that the federal government has demonstrably failed to adequately secure the border. The state invokes its inherent right to self-defense as enshrined in its constitution and legal traditions. Consequently, Texas justifies its deployment of the National Guard to address what it perceives as an ongoing crisis.
Mr. Chen, can you explain the rationale behind acting unilaterally, without explicit federal consent or coordination?
The Texas-Mexico border has become ground zero, a focal point, for a high-stakes battle over the fundamental principles of state and federal authority, with implications far beyond the immediate region. Governor Abbott has taken decisive action, deploying the Texas National Guard to the border region, often implementing strategies that directly conflict with or bypass established federal protocols and directives. This includes the installation of physical barriers, such as extensive stretches of razor wire along the border. Texas argues that without security, freedom is meaningless. California warns that too much security erodes liberty. These philosophies drive their policies and shape the national debate. Texas prioritizes collective safety and order, believing it's the foundation for individual expression. California fears government overreach, championing autonomy and civil rights even if it means accepting some risk. The tension between these visions defines American politics today. Each state's approach resonates with those who share its fears and hopes. The debate is about more than laws. It's about the soul of the nation. The outcome will define what it means to be American.
California sees freedom as expansive and inclusive, defending individual rights, privacy, and humane immigration.
For Texas, true freedom requires order and safety. Protecting children, vetting visas, and securing borders are seen as essential to preserving liberty.
At the heart of these clashes are two core American values: freedom and security. These policy battles aren't abstract. They shape real lives. A transgender teen in a restrictive state faces the choice to stay and suffer or move to California for care, uprooting their family. An international student fears visa rejection over social media posts, choosing Canada over the US, costing America talent and perspective. At the border, a migrant family encounters razor wire and confusion, caught between state and federal forces. The Texas-California divide creates two Americas, where your rights depend on geography. This patchwork deepens division and uncertainty, making unity harder to achieve. The human cost is measured in disrupted lives and lost opportunities. Policy choices ripple outward, shaping futures in ways lawmakers can't always predict. The stakes are personal, not just political. The divide is growing and its impact is felt every day. These stories remind us what's truly at stake. The debate is about people, not just principles. Texas and California set the tone for the nation, their policies quickly echoed by like-minded states. When Texas passes a restrictive law, other red states follow. When California acts, blue states emulate. This turns state politics into a national battleground, forging America's future in real time. Policy diffusion is accelerating. Abortion, climate, privacy, and more. State actions influence federal policy and vice versa, creating a feedback loop. The Supreme Court's return of power to the states intensifies this dynamic. America is becoming a federation of red and blue states with divergent laws and values. National unity is harder to achieve as legal and social landscapes diverge.
Dr. Ramirez, what is California's vision for America's future? California believes America's strength is in diversity, innovation, and liberty. We support inclusion, trusting families and doctors on healthcare, and protecting personal decisions. We want an open, welcoming nation that values global talent and rejects invasive surveillance. On immigration, we advocate for humane, federal solutions, not state standoffs. Our future should be built on partnership, not division. Progress, civil rights, and equity are our guiding principles. We envision a united, compassionate America that lives up to its ideals.
Mr. Chen, what is Texas's vision for America? Texas stands for strength, sovereignty, and principle. Liberty thrives with order and security. We protect children, exercise caution, and uphold the rule of law. On immigration, we support secure borders and responsible stewardship, welcoming legal immigrants while prioritizing safety. We champion robust federalism, states as laboratories of democracy, free from federal overreach. When Washington fails, states must act to protect their citizens. Our vision is confident self-governance, rooted in family, faith, and freedom. We seek a respectful debate, honoring constitutional order and national security. This is not division, but a return to America's core principles.